Good afternoon. How are you? Well, I have several thoughts, and maybe I'm going to be more succinct than usual. Not that I ramble, but, how do you shut up an Irishman? I don't think that's entirely my my sin, but my mom said I was born talking. My brother said she overheard my parents talking, and they said I was slow to talk. And I said, yeah, but I've been spending a lot of time catching up. There's a way to cause, I don't know, some sort of pain, upsetness, surprise, and it's called swatting. And Congresswoman Green and another congressman over the weekend were subjected to swatting. And what it is you call up the local constabulary, the police chief, the law enforcement, and you say there's an incident happening, and you give them Marjorie's, Miss Green's home. And people go there, and then she gets all upset because I had all these people over for Christmas. And it's very interesting because you can see that on high, they think they should be immune to the same stuff they do and provoke every day. And a good example of something that is not just mischievous is the attacks that have been happening. Well, I say attacks. Okay, let's put it this way. Threats to the Supreme Court justices in Colorado who decided the case involving whether or not Trump, having been involved in an insurrection, should be barred from running in a state primary and invoking the Constitution, Article 14, Section 3, that says just that. And they did. And since that time, they've been receiving threats, and law enforcement is investigating that. So is that where we are between swatting and threats? This is what mobsters do. This is what potentates do. This is what dictators do. This is what Hitler did. This is what Mussolini did. And there have been examples through the ages, and we've had a few in America that came really close to this. And, and McCarthy was one of those. And we've had some people who have threatened terrible agendas for America. But Trump takes the cake. He takes the cake. And so this is what he would give us. This is what he would give us. In fact, his words to those who disagree with him is they should all go to hell. That was his Christmas message. Merry Christmas, Mr. Trump. Could you be more evil? Are you really casting about for the movie in which you could play this evil character? Well, I understand some prisons have school plays. Maybe you could make one of those. So we have that. Then we have a potential to enormous danger over in the Middle East, not in the Middle East, in Syria, we had an assassination in the last day or so of a high-placed soldier in the Iranian Guard. And the Israelis did the deed, and it happened in Syria. That kind of scope that gets us out of the fight between Arab and Jew and Gaza and Palestine and Israel is the kind of thing that makes us think of how just the Archduke Ferdinand could begin World War I. And the families that were overlapping and intertwined that ran all these governments, they couldn't pull it together. And perhaps because what they wanted was not a peace, but they wanted aggrandizement, space and power and so forth. Well, that's Trump to a T, no pun intended. So that's what we have. And meantime, the war that makes more sense for America, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't care to work our best so that we don't have a world war and so that we bring peace to the Middle East, which has been quite elusive in my lifetime, and turn our view to Ukraine and say to ourselves, it's nice when we can see a scene of servicemen in that war having a moment to eat a mutton soup and things like that. as they're about to go out into battle. Well, we can't ignore the fact that they don't have the supplies to fight that war, and the Republicans won't give it to them. And for most of my life, I've observed Republicans to be very upset with Russia. I don't get it. In fact, I may have mentioned this before. You know, I competed in these rhetorical contests, and one of them was one about some evening when you're in New York, walk up Broadway from Times Square. And there's a point in it that always got a strong reaction, and it was, and Khrushchev turned his hefty body toward America and toward us and wagged a pudgy finger and said, "We will bury you." Do we really think that Putin is not in a very different position today? No, I think he's prepared to bury anyone, as Hitler was, to have his Lebensraum. I can't say it in Russian because I don't know the words. And he calls it reuniting the empire that was Russia. So that's his thinking. And we have Republicans who side with him over Zelensky and NATO and our interests in Europe, both in terms of our past alliances and our cultures and our economies. What is wrong with us? Republicans are supposed to be the economic party, but they can't figure this out. Or is it individual deals? Or is it dirt on them? Or is it what Trump has on them? Or is it that's how Trump got to the White House the first time? They couldn't deliver the second time. And this is it, no holds barred. They're going to get him in this time by hook or crook. Emphasis on crook. Because the only people trying to steal elections in America are Trump and his corrupt minions. So that's what we have. This is what we have going into the new year. We have these sinister people fighting to limit the vote, while several states, it appears, have drawn fair lines after court cases that may deliver the vote to Democrats. Now, do the Democrats have some inherent value? Well, they do, but they lack the courage of what they claim are their convictions. There are exceptions, as there always are, to a criticism like that. But you have to be on the field and fight. No one else is going to do this for us. So that's my thinking in the neighborhood, in the mist between Christmas and New Year's Eve. And we have to resolve in the new year that this cannot be the pathway to our future, one of desolation, lawlessness, chaos, evil, insider deals, inequality, a lack of diversity, friends prosecuted because they criticized Trump, entire groups prevented from coming to America because they're not white enough. This is the future that Trump has in mind. Hard to believe. And we find it hard to believe because we don't start with his premises. We don't agree with the premises by which he conducts himself. And there's no restraint on him. His belief is somewhat like Nixon. Nixon had that statement, when the president does it, it is the law. That's who Trump believes he is. He is the culmination of the Nixon rule that should have put him behind bars. And with any luck, we'll do two things. We'll put Trump behind bars, and we will deny him another claim upon the West Wing, either in the courts or in the polling booths. So with that, I say, I'll hope to talk to you tomorrow in my cathedral of trees. All the best. Bye-bye.